What's up, guys? It's Andy, and I just want to shoot a quick intro for you. I'm heading out to the barn tonight. We're going to do a jumping vlog with Elliot, hopefully. It might just end up being flat work because they were inside today. It was like 3 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind chill, and our barn is located in a wind tunnel, so it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it just wasn't safe to turn out the horses. They don't have shelters in their pastures, and so it was just safer for staff and better for everyone that the horses did not go turn out tonight. And so I don't know how Elliot's going to be. Since he came in August, there hasn't really been that many days where they've been inside. Some days when it's been windy, they've had like half-day turnout. But he hasn't really spent, I think he's only spent one whole day inside since he's come, so I don't really know what his energy level will be like. Also, I have to check his left front leg. Wednesday when the saddle fitter came out was swollen. It wasn't hot and it wasn't bothering him, but there was edema in the leg. There was clear swelling, and so you could like push it and it was squishy. And it was obviously felt larger, not maybe visually, but when you felt it, you could feel the inner tendons were kind of swollen compared to the right leg. And so my guess, because I witnessed his pasture pal who likes to beat the crap out of him, pretty much kicking the snot out of everyone in the pasture the day before, running in mud because it had gotten warm, so everything melted. And so I'm thinking he either pulled a muscle or his buddy kicked him in the leg, which is probably the most likely possibility because I found a new bite mark on his butt that was pretty bad. So I'm thinking he probably got kicked in the knee or something. I did ride him last night. He has not been lame either Wednesday or last night, Friday night. I rode him, he felt great last night, and actually kind of the residual swelling actually went down a little bit after the ride, probably because it was getting circulation to the leg. And I did choose to do a standing wrap on him last night, which staff took off this morning, just some compression to maybe help the area a little bit. And he wasn't sensitive and it wasn't hot, so I'm hoping things look better today, but lots of confounding factors as to whether or not we're going to be jumping tonight because I want every experience for him to be really positive and I don't want to set him up for failure. So I have Alicia coming out to the barn tonight to film and I'm running late, so let's go out to the barn. All right, I figured we would do a little bit of a voiceover just because I think watching clips to music all the time is kind of boring and I like to talk. So apologies if there are background noises. I just got a kitten, like not even a week ago, and she's very loud. She's talkative and she plays with bells a lot. So if you hear that, that's what that is. So we started out our flat work. We had some other people riding with us initially. I had put on the calendar that I was planning on jumping just because even though it doesn't reserve the arena, I wanted people to know that, hey, I'm going to be jumping my 5-year-old racehorse, which usually makes people not come. But anyways, so we were just kind of doing our walk trot work while they finished up so that we could safely canter and safely jump without anyone else in the arena. And we just kind of started in a lazy trot just to get him warmed up. Again, he had been inside all day, so I wasn't sure what he was going to be like. But actually, I think it helped after having the standing wrap on all night and then being in the stall for the day. The leg was nice and no longer swollen, nice and cold. And he actually felt really great in his flat work once we started stretching out a little bit. And I actually feel like I got to work on my position a little bit today. I've been not worrying about his head because he's been carrying kind of low and nice on his own. And once he starts to stretch out, he's definitely been very comfortable. We do sitting trot into walk transitions because I'm trying to get him used to me being on his back. We are struggling a little bit with sitting canter just because I don't think racehorses often have people sitting on their back at that pace. And so we're using the sitting trot to try and help get him used to that feeling. And then in our canter work, we try to do one circle of sitting canter each direction. And he definitely is, he's well behaved, but he's definitely concerned about like, why are you sitting on my back? Like, this is not normal. So we're just trotting around. I'm myself trying to work on just being straighter in my upper body. I do find this outfit a little bit deceiving of my position just because my jacket has a hood that's like flopping around the entire time.
And so it just makes everything look a bit more exaggerated than I think it actually is. And so we just trot a lot. We trotted a lot this day. Circles, figure eights, changing direction, walk to walk to trot, just to make sure that he's actually listening. Every time we start from the walk to the trot again, he's a little bit uppity, so you can see he's kind of raising his head above the vertical and just seems a little bit more tense because he just thinks we're going to canter. And he had a lot of energy, but I thought he did a really nice job of kind of holding it together. So we kind of worked on framing a little bit. He has a couple moments in our ride where I'm just like, yes, it feels good, it looks good. And I think the biggest part of this is that I'm not a trainer. I'm not a professional. I don't have anyone helping me right now except for the online clinics that I watch and that sort of thing. And I'm just like super proud of him. So here we're going to start cantering. And he's kind of weird to the left. You'll see like he picks it up when I ask, but like only 90%. He's only giving like 90% effort. So as we come through the corner, he's getting a little better. He kind of cocks his head to the side when we canter sometimes. So I'm just trying to get him to focus on stretching out a little bit. He's kind of like a bunchy accordion when we first start. And so this was like perfect. I loved where his headset was there around the corner. He felt like he was stretching. He wasn't so tense and bunchy. And then I sat down, which is where he raised his head up down that long side. And now we're attempting a sitting canter. And he kind of breaks because I think he is interpreting sitting down as a signal to slow down. And I don't want to put too much leg on because, again, he's a racehorse and I don't want to die. So his transition to the right was definitely not where it needed to be, and he was more uppity this way for sure. I definitely liked his canter down the long side where he started to stretch out a little bit more, and the pace feels good. It feels a little bit fast sometimes when he throws his head up and is kind of being a silly boy. But we did some circles, and the sitting canter to the right is definitely harder for him. He definitely hollows out his back and raises his head a bit more. So we definitely have a lot to work on there still, but I thought this looked really nice. And then coming into the corner, we've really been working on not cutting this corner because he, for some reason, only to the right and only that corner likes to cut it. So, and then he came back down to trot really nice. And then we're going to start jumping. So to start, I walk him over a mid-height cavaletti just because I want to get his mind into the place of picking up his feet and preparing to jump. Initially, when we started, all the jumps were set at a level that he could very easily walk over, and we would do that on every single fence before we would start. Now we're moving down just to the cavaletti. This was his first day where we did not walk over the cross rails. He was just trotting and expected to jump it. So now we're going to trot the cavaletti. It's very low. He can step over it if he needs to. And he surprised me. I actually got left behind a little bit a few of these times because he actually jumped them, which was unexpected. So when we came back around, he was just a little fast. His head was high. He was not listening to my half halt. So I chose to make the good decision to just slow his brain down, go around for a half a lap, try and get his brain back where it needed to be. And then we were going to go back around and try again. So here he's still getting a little anticipatory in the corners. I'm just waiting for him to come down, and that was a really nice corner. You can see he still perks up. I think he does enjoy jumping, so got a little bit of a weird step there. And you'll notice we do turn right after the fences. And although I don't like making that habit for horses, you will see a few times here why we do that. I'm trying to just keep him really calm, keep his mind in a good place, because you'll see here, jump and then head up, ears back, butt tucked under, and we scoot. Now, he's not definitely taking off or anything, but it's very uncomfortable, and sometimes he can go like straight up and down, and it's very hard on my back. And so by turning directly after, and here I'm pointing to see if that will help, but he decided not to jump at all. By turning right after, I have a little pressure on his mouth. I'm encouraging him to pick up the correct lead, and it's encouraging him to keep his head down, which stops him from doing the scoot. So here was a really nice one. Tried to do a lead change. Unfortunately, he is very good at cross cantering, so that'll come with time. I don't expect that from him now. And then I think this jump is a really good example of his scoot. And if you slow it down frame by frame, you can see how I literally just get bounced out of the saddle after the jump. So he gets on a little bit of an off step, head up, scoots, tries to change his lead, and then you can see he's not listening to my half halts here. So I will do what jockeys do. You're up in your half seat 2-point, bridge your reins, bury them in the neck. He does respond to that pressure really well, being a racehorse, and I try to only save that for when he's really not listening. So then we came to this, and he jumped it so well. And again, guys, he did not get to look at these or walk over these, but you can see there that was a great example of turning, having the correct lead, and him being nice and calm. That's all I care about. He could go 1 foot at a time over the fence. As long as he's not taking off or running up to it, that's great. Here he jumps so cute. Oh my gosh. And I got a little bit left behind because he jumped it bigger than I was expecting, but he was distracted by the jacket on the cavaletti. So then we went the other direction. I was a little bit more prepared this time because he's still looking at it, which is fine. He needs to get used to that sort of thing. And he jumped it. I was with him a lot better that time. He got the correct lead and we turned through the corner. There was no tuck and scoot. And you can see we really aren't cutting the arena off that much. So that's pretty good. I should have set myself up for a better canter here. And he definitely had a bad stride and then he got disunited. This was a little bit better planned. I didn't even think I was going to canter jumps, honestly, because of him being inside all day, but he actually did really well. And so that was our jumping session. And that was so good. I was so proud.
Okay, I thought I would just do like a little recap or something. So Elliot was so good today. Like, I am not a trainer, but there were moments jumping tonight where I was like, this feels good. And he felt great on the flat. His leg was totally back to normal, no swelling or anything. And he was just great. I mean, we can't reserve the arena for jumping, but generally when we put it on the calendar, people like avoid coming unless they're also planning on jumping. We did have some people that didn't think we were actually gonna be there, even though I put it on the calendar. So we got a little bit later start than I wanted. Maybe didn't think through as well what I wanted to set up because I was kind of caught off guard. But and then I wanted to allow them time to like try and finish up riding before we went in there. And the reason I do that is because he's 5. Steering isn't like 100% all the time. He gets really worked up cantering around other horses right now just because he's an ex-racehorse. Anytime he was cantering with other horses, he was supposed to be the fastest, which is like the opposite of what we want now. And just jumping with other people in there, it's just not, his focus isn't there yet. I'm not ready to do that quite yet. So I try to put everything on our barn calendar so that other people can kind of plan. Plus, usually there's not anybody else at the barn at like 7 o'clock on a Saturday. This was the first time I've actually run into that. So it was kind of a weird night. And the horses had been in all day, but Ellie was so good. He kept it together. He had a couple of moments like post jumping where he would just like throw his head up and then like do the tuck and scoot, which I'm not a huge fan of, but he's getting better and he's becoming easier to like recoup afterwards. So he did so good, and some of his jumps were so pretty, and he was actually jumping the cavaletti, which was crazy to me because he never jumps those. So I think he was feeling really good, and I think he likes jumping, and I'm just so proud of him. Like, what a good baby horse. Like, I'm beaming. I'm so ecstatic that we got some of it on camera, and thankful that Alicia came out to film for me tonight. And yeah, I'm super excited to keep working with him through the winter and just kind of see if we can maybe get to some shows for like pole classes or cross rail classes next year, or even just flat classes to get him off the property. So I'm really excited. So stay tuned for more videos, hopefully. And we'll see you guys in the next one.